By now, I'm sure you've heard of a bill called H.R. 1. It's a bill with a very clever name. It passed the House along party lines, and now it faces a very difficult challenge in the U.S. Senate. The For the People Act is definitely for the people if you happen to be a Democrat, and it'll affect every single federal election in America from here on out, starting with the midterms in November of 2022, if it passes. The bill is massive, and it represents another Democratic attempt to lock in permanent majorities in Washington. But it's being promoted as a bill that's going to make it easier for all Americans to vote in federal elections. It's broken down into three key parts. The first is voting, which focuses on widening the net for voter registration and limiting the state's ability to manage their own redistricting. The second is campaign finance, by expanding disclosure requirements. And lastly, ethics, adding a new layer of reporting requirements for both broadcast and online advertising. One of the few positives, though, the bill will finally address foreign influence in our elections. That's a good thing. It'll close the loopholes that allowed Russia to buy thousands of ads on Facebook leading up to the election in 2016. So we don't have another Russia hoax. It also limits the amount of time you can spend in line on Election Day to 30 minutes. Some of the negatives, and there are several. The first, anyone can vote anytime they want with no ID required. In some cases, people will even be able to register at 16 and 17 years old for upcoming elections. And H.R. 1 mandates same-day voter registration online and in person, meaning anyone will be able to vote on Election Day without registering beforehand, and all states will be required to offer mail-in ballots. Early voting would also be expanded beyond what we saw in the fall of 2020 during the pandemic, requiring all 50 states to offer in-person voting for at least 15 days before Election Day, 10 hours a day, a move aimed at improving Democratic turnout instead of voting the old-fashioned way on Election Day. Plus, every college and university in the country will now be required to register new voters and offer internet voter registration, and even offer curbside voting, something the state of Texas tried out, meaning you won't even need to get out of your car to vote in some cases. It would also give people with prior felony convictions the right to vote, something the state of Florida passed in 2018 but has been controversial for decades. The bill would also take away the state's ability to draw their own congressional districts, replacing them with independent commissions, which have proven to be anything but independent throughout history, often tilting way to the left. When it comes to campaign finance, the bill would limit the influence donors can have on elections and would require nonprofits to disclose the names of donors who give more than $10,000, and in some cases list the group's top donors by name on TV and radio, which is not something that people are going to want to do for obvious reasons. The GOP Senate blocked the most recent version of H.R. 1 back in 2019, but they've been at this for a while. The left's goal is a permanent Democratic majority in Washington, and it is closer now than ever before. But as we've learned, if something's not done to make sure our elections are secure, we could go through what we went through in November every 2 years. Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.